They're gone forever and they need taken care of, and the people that are supposed to take care of them aren't doing it.
Tonight, 10 Investigates is going to work for loved ones upset over conditions at 2 cemeteries abandoned by their owners. Places designed for eternal rest and peace, left with sinking headstones, litter, and overgrown grass.
For these families, the painstaking process of waiting for a solution has lingered for nearly 10 years now. Tonight, new developments in the search for closure.
There's many people buried out here.
It's a place for final rest.
My grandfather and my grandmother are buried here.
Sacred grounds for families to mourn and remember those they love and miss.
We buried my father here last year.
Nestled along a hillside in Chillicothe sits Floral Hills Memory Gardens. The peaceful panoramic views span nearly 37 acres with the backdrop of Mother Nature's glory. It's a resting place for thousands of people, including many veterans. However, for a decade, this place of rest has been in distress.
It was knee-deep in weeds. You couldn't even see the flags.
Since 2010, this privately owned cemetery has been unregistered and plagued with problems, abandoned by absentee out-of-state owners, leaving no one to deliver on promises paid for.
People just expect that when they get buried that the cemetery will, meet their commitments. There's a contract signed.
Problems 10 TV documented shortly after the state sued the owners for violating the Consumer Protection Act, sparking a flurry of lawsuits and a mountain of debt and unpaid taxes, totaling hundreds of thousands of dollars.
The owners, we have no clue where they went.
Scott Michael Bodie is one of several community volunteers who've stepped up to help.
I don't ask for nothing because I'm doing it for these families.
It's work township leaders refused to take over 5 years ago, claiming they couldn't afford it.
Our options are so limited, we kind of feel helpless.
That same feeling is felt by families 30 miles away near Circleville at another cemetery forgotten by the same owners. The legal process here handled on a local level, with the cemetery recently put up for auction in a foreclosure sale. The minimum starting bid, which was over $100,000, had no bidder. According to the Pickaway County prosecutor, that price includes owed taxes and other fees and penalties. It's now set to be offered again at the auditor's sale. With ownership for both locations still unclear and several legal cases pending,
I don't know what more we can do. I just don't know.
Grief has turned into frustration for many families.
We have not forgotten about you. You know what they say about the wheels of government turning slowly sometimes. This is that case in spades.
Our search for answers led us directly to the Department of Commerce and Director Cheryl Creed Maxfield.
I can't imagine how upset they have been over the last 10 years. And I applaud those volunteers who have been out there year after year, keeping these cemeteries up.
Maxfield says she understands the need for action. However, until recently, her department didn't have the authority to act.
But now we're to the point where we want to just take things over, and we have filed suit.
House Bill 168 clears the way. It gives authority over any unregistered cemetery to the Department of Commerce's Division of Real Estate and Professional Licensing.
These 2 owners came up missing pretty quickly. And so it's been a tough road to hoe for anybody who's been trying to locate them to hold them accountable.
And Pettit oversees that division and says in the past 10 months, they've made significant progress in clearing the way for new temporary ownership known as a receiver. Maxfield says the state is doing all it can to ensure that these sacred sites are protected and that families are at peace.
I know for the families of the individuals who are interred at Floral Hills, it doesn't feel that way. This has been a very long and slow process, but it is coming to resolution.
Now, Maxfield tells me once a receiver is appointed in Chillicothe, they could work to get that cemetery licensed again, making it eligible for financial assistance and easing the burden on those volunteers there. Meanwhile, the Circleville location, if it fails to get a bidder at the next auction, it could too end up in the state's hands for a receiver. Now, to hear where the AG's office stands on this case and the issues 10 Investigates uncovered at other cemeteries across the state, you can check out this full story online over at 10tv.com.